I don't even know what to say. Firstly, I'm going to try to keep my voice down for this review because, fortunately, at the time of this recording, I was given today, Friday, and this upcoming Monday off because my company is doing something different, so my mom is still working today, so I'm going to try to keep my voice down. But it's going to be hard to do because today's episode was an episode that I had given defense to in the past, and that I had been trying to basically find things to say that this episode's not as bad as everybody is making it out to be. But the reality is, opinions change. And after seeing both the opinions of the voice of reason and the cartoon hero, the hero of tomorrow in this case, I'm honestly inclined to agree. I'm going to try to do what I can to keep myself together. And while I personally feel that Flutter Brutter is the worst episode of Season 6, this episode could be right up there. This is every little thing she does. Let's just do it. So this episode starts out at the Friendship Castle, where Twilight and Starlight are basically practicing magic at the crack of dawn.
I prepared a full day of spells. You've been doing great, but now it's time for a real challenge. It is on. Where do we begin? Teleportation. Multiple locations. Try to keep up.
Now, here's the thing. This episode doesn't start off all that bad. Okay. We see how far Starlight has come into being Twilight's pupil, and that she's able to keep up with using magic. So this episode is really not all that bad. And it is awesome. Like, it is just really good with practicing at magic. So so based on the opening alone, the episode doesn't really start all that bad. But as I keep saying that, and I said the same thing about Princess Spike, and I still think it's the worst episode of the series, but let's just get into the meat of this episode.
These spells like Accelero are not easy, but if done correctly, they can allow you to be much more efficient with your day.
So essentially, she uses magic to find the powers of the Flash.
I'm not finished.
Okay, so basically to speed this up, after boasting about her magic, Twilight decides to basically set up a friendship lesson.
Are you sure? I could have sworn there were a couple in there somewhere. I'm sure. I see. Well, I'm really quite busy this week. So many commitments. I'll try and find some time in my time like the present. Mike and I are heading to Canterlot. Princess Celestia wanted me to give her students a quick overview on the history of enchanted objects in Equestria. We'll be back after the presentation, which should be 20 minutes from now. Tonight.
And to be fair, I think I'd probably find that a lot more interesting than what is going to happen. But I'm gonna... Alright, let's just get this. So essentially, Starlight is on her own to try to find a friendship lesson, as the rest of the main six basically come along to try to figure something out.
Nope, not at all. I'm good here. Oh, I'm good. Great. Not a problem in the world. So, what are you doing exactly? I was just trying to decide which friendship lesson I was going to tackle while you two are at Caterwatt. Oh, yep, right here, where I just left them a second ago. Bake a cake with Pinkie Pie, scrapbook with Applejack, sew with Rarity, help an animal with Fluttershy, chill with Relax, Rainbow Dash. What is chillaxing?
Well, it's 2022, and I'm really not sure if anyone uses the word chillaxing anymore. And I really don't know if they even used it in 2016 either, but just saying.
No idea. You know, if you're nervous about your friendship lessons, it's totally
think it's just more of how you're going to handle this friendship lesson, since it's now, like, what, been 20 episodes, and admittedly, you've done a great job at it. Especially what we saw, how you were able to reconnect with Sunburst after all the time I'm apart.
Well, if you were, it'd be silly. Twilight just said how impressed she was that I combined a speed spell and a duplication spell. That was a challenge. These, I can combine all 5 of these at the same time without breaking a sweat.
Why does she sound so evil when she says that?
Maybe you're missing an opportunity to really
And she decides to do it all at once.
I figure these should be done in no time.
Are you sure this is what Twilight would want? Seems like you might want to take your time with each of these.
But by working as a team, we can get them done faster. And isn't teamwork a key factor in friendship?
When you're fighting against the forces of evil, yes, but in a simple friendship lesson, no.
I guess. Super! Pinky Pop! Since we're baking, you will be in the kitchen. Rarity, Applejack, you two can set up in the library. Oh, I don't know that the old library has the proper lighting. Perhaps we can stay out here in the foyer. I thought that Fluttershy and I could work with the animals right here in the foyer.
And I'm assuming that she also brought the raccoons from Rarity's boutique, who I'm sure probably asked them to come along, so...
Whatever you think is good. Great! Now, Rainbow Dash.
But it might depend on the animal. For instance, this poor little eagle with a spring wing might be better off up in one of the towers.
Also, I really like how the eagle, the most badass bird of the planet, has those sad little teary eyes. Like, it's...
Yeah, sure.
And these adorable chipmunks might prefer a nook somewhere. Maybe if you spend some time getting to know
In a minute, Fluttershy. I don't know if we can chillax properly in the castle. We need very specific conditions for optimal chillax.
Or basically just find a way just to, like, to stay inside, basically stay in your bed, and get a nap, play a video games, reviewing an episode. Those are some ways for Ace to find chillaxing.
So,
Can't believe I just said that.
Chillaxing could happen anywhere.
Alright, so basically to save you some trouble, essentially she tries to get everything done, but is overwhelmed at everything all at once, that, it's time. Alright, I've been dreading this. So essentially Starlight gets overwhelmed by this and decides to do this.
Maybe if I cast a little spell to help things along? Something simple and safe. The Ducia Compellus? That's not bad. You would barely notice it, but is it enough? Maybe Cogeria, so they're more open to suggestion. Or maybe Cogeria combined with the Ducia Compellus. Yeah, that could work nicely. With a hint of Persuadere to be sure it sticks. Every pony will probably thank me for getting it all done so quickly. Twilight will be thrilled I've completed so many lessons. Every pony wins! Congratulations, Starlight. You're a genius.
Then why are you smiling evilly like that? Alright, it's time. I've been dreading this, but essentially the spell works and she pretty much brainwashes them.
Congratulations, we're a little premature.
Yeah. Essentially the spell takes away the rest of the main six's free will.
Excuse me. What?
Yep. So to make a long story short, Starlight brainwashes the main six. The thing that we had been avoiding from Season 5 that was done in fan art, she does it here in this episode.
Of course. The Ducia Compellus needs a trigger. Hear my voice and listen.
Oh, why start now?
Picky, Kitchen, Rarity, Applejack, Light.
You know, at the time, after the Season 5 finale, I had been a starch defender for Starlight. And that, unlike a lot of people in the Brony community, I was willing to forgive her. I wouldn't forget what she did in Season 5, but I was willing to forgive her. And I think in the 20 episodes of this season, we got to see her character grow more and more. Being able to confront Sunburst and basically explain what she did, and they were able to reconnect in the Crystalline two-parter, and being the first one to be concerned about what was going on in the Crystal Empire in the times that they are a changeling. You would think the writers would have keep that in the back of their mind, but you know, like, I really thought that we were past this. I really thought that we were past the whole Starlight brainwashing ponies into doing what she wants. I really just could have lied to myself, and because I didn't think that for 1 second that we'd be going back to this bullshit. And in later seasons, I am still a voucher for Starlight, and you would think that she would be able to understand that what she was doing is wrong, but no. And she is proud of herself for doing it. And I'm not even just gonna bother, because you know that with the brainwashing going on, she should know that all of this is just wrong. And honestly, I can't really express in words about how I feel, and honestly, I think Ozzy's jury speech in Survivor Fans vs. Favorites basically summed up what I'm feeling about Starlight right now.
I think I might be the biggest idiot up here. I am truly, to the bottom of my heart, hurt by what you did to me. It was a great move. It really was. But I never in a million years thought that you could do that to me. You put a price on our friendship. You threw us away like garbage. You basically said, you know what, you're not quite worth this much money. And sure, you know, it really does hurt. How can you say that you're a role model when you're willing to discard a valuable friendship like that? A human being, but I don't want words. No words at all. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, because like I said, it essentially basically all boils to shit, basically, and basically Starlight is, well, caught.
We're gonna feel that in the morning. Now, please try to explain to me how, in the name of Celestia, things got this out of control. Well, it was the first time I cast that particular spell, and I didn't fully think it through. I bet if I reversed, I think you might be missing the point here. Told ya. What made you think that casting a spell on your friends to do your bidding was even remotely a good idea?
The episode points this out, and she did it anyways. And I literally fast forward everything that happened in the past 8 minutes because it is despicable watching this. Because you think with all that growth that had happened, Starlight just shoved it in the garbage and really went back to her old ways. And that just sucks. I don't even know what else to say. And like I said, I am a die-hard Starlight defender.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds really bad.
Yeah, it should, Starlight. And like I need to get to the point. So I need to ask you, Starlight, that I'm really asking you this. Heart to heart, friend to friend, human being to pony. Is it worth it to you to cast a brainwashing spell for a friendship lesson? Is it worth it to you to do that?
That's because it is really bad. But Starlight, I'm not mad
to know that too, Twilight. In fact, I would like to ask the writing staff what they thought about this, because I don't know why they did this. Like, this is one of those moments where I just don't know how to word it, because it's just that this is the type of thing where a reformed villain should not even think about doing, and what Starlight has been doing for what seemed like, in the time of this show, at least a year, you would think that she would know better. But instead, she went back to her old ways and just brainwashed the main six and think that it would qualify as okay.
Fine. I've been avoiding the friendship lessons on purpose. Why? I can cast complex spells, but baking a cake with Pinkie Pie freaks me out. And yes, I know how ridiculous that sounds. That's why I didn't say anything. I thought if I just kept wowing you with my magical abilities, you might just not notice.
And all this could have been talked about and avoided in the last 16 minutes, and we could have gotten something else differently.
Baking a cake freaks you out? Yes. Baking a cake, sewing, all of it. What if I was bad at it? I didn't want to be a disappointment to any pony, and I ended up being a disappointment to every pony. Starlight, do you think any pony cares if you can bake a cake? But the lesson was to get to know Pinkie Pie better by doing something she loves. It was a friendship lesson, not a baking lesson.
It's really hard to try to give any compliments. Like I said, I used to be a big defender of this episode, and here's the thing, it's moments like these why I still think that while this episode is bad, I still think that Flutter Brutter is the worst episode of season 6, because it literally gave me everything to be angry about in like the first minute, whereas this episode gave me something to be angry about in like the first 8 minutes or so. So it's moments like these why I can't really say that this is the worst episode of the entire series. And yeah, that's hypocritical for me to say that when I gave Princess Spike so much crap for that. But you want to know what the difference between Princess Spike and this episode is? Spike has been around since season 1. Starlight has just become part of the main cast in just this season.
Oh. You know, I think I might have missed the point here.
Yeah, you really could have said it better myself. And basically, she goes to apologize to the rest of the main six, and Rainbow Dash basically sums up the entire audience, is what I feel right now.
With you on the friendship lesson. Well, here's a friendship lesson for you. Don't cast spells on your friends!
Basically, the one line that could have been summed up in the last 18 minutes, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Believe me, I know. What I did was wrong, and I can't take it back. You're right to be upset, and I hope one day I can make it up to you.
Well, like I said, I am still a defender of this episode, defender of Starlight, and like I said, it's this kind of episode that kind of makes people kind of hesitate in accepting Starlight's redemption, and given with later episodes that we're going to review later down the road, I am willing to look past this. But much like what she did in season 5, I can forgive, but I am not going to forget.
But all I can say is I'm sorry. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go clean the castle covered in wet cake batter and spiders. That was a pretty good apology.
Seems like she feels really bad.
Hey, Starlight. Most of the Apple family photos are still laying around in the wreckage. I think I'll come along and hunt them down.
Oh, and I feel awful for disturbing all those cute little spiders and bats. I should check on them.
Oh, yes. And I left some lovely fabric out. I should come and move it to that nice, quiet library.
Come and get those storm clouds out of the bathroom.
Fine. Someone has to bake a cake to honor all the poor pigs that sacrifice their batter.
Okay, so what is the moral? Oh, rather, it's just basically a montage of Starlight basically fixing everything at this point and actually doing the friendship lesson as Twilight takes into account of what happened.
It's probably gonna be a while before I try to tackle those friendship lessons again. What do you mean? You've been doing them all day. What are you talking about? I've been cleaning up the mess I made by totally failing at friendship. Really? But didn't I see you sewing with Verity? Yes, but... And you and Applejack did a great job collecting those photos and putting them in the book. Helping animals with Fluttershy, baking with Sweetie Pie. Those sound like your assignments to me. In fact, I think there's just one that you're missing. Sun, check. Chairs, check. And thanks to the simple how-to-do-beloved atomic spell, we've got water. Is that everything we need to chillax? Nope. No. What did I miss?
You relaxing?
Oh, great job, Starlight. Looks like you've completed another friendship lesson. Hey! She completes the lesson when I say she completes it. So less learning and more chillaxing.
Basically the mantra of anyone that's in school, so...
So, how long do we sit quietly?
So, yeah, that was everything So that was every little thing she does, and honestly, the first 2 seconds of Taj's jury speech sums up my feelings of this episode.
Crushed, betrayed, extremely disappointed.
Yeah, that basically sums it up. I mean it. This episode's bad. It's really, really bad. All the character development Starlight has gotten for the last 20 episodes just went down the crapper. Now, admittedly, part of the reason why I defended her in this particular episode is the fact that because she was not new to the cast and she was a former villain, she doesn't really understand friendship just yet. But like I said, in the amount of time in this season, about a year at the very least, she should have known better at friendship. But the brainwashing of her friends shows that she went back to her old ways. And it's really hard to get the words out because I am trying my hardest to defend Starlight because there are still people who hate her for what she's done. But I think probably, well, this episode is bad because the writing was atrocious, and a lot of the episode, which I fast forward through for about 8 minutes, was essentially just everything falling apart and just having to force to listen to Starlight go back to her old ways, and then finally being told what the lesson was in like the last 5 minutes. At the very least, she does apologize and give a sincere apology, and on top of that, she and her talks with Twilight to basically understand what to do in this scenario and better handle it shows that she was willing to listen. So while I do agree this episode is extremely bad, I honestly still think that Flutter Brutter is worse, because that episode gave me a lot to be angry about from like the first 2 minutes, whereas this episode gave me a lot of things to be angry about in the first 8 minutes. So, honestly, despite some of the opinions, and I really don't think this is the worst episode of Season 6. It's still bad, but it's not the worst. So, every little thing she does gets a D. And it only escapes being a D- because of not only the sincere apology, but also with the first 8 minutes, and on top of that, the talks and confrontations with Twilight. Those are literally the only good things about this episode, whereas the second act just takes this like a giant face plant. Alright. So hopefully next time we will look at an episode that has a lot more to give to me and give me more material to work with, and honestly I hope is better. And that is PPOV, Pony Point of View. See you guys next time. Bye.